Hello again, Year 6. So today we are going to look again at measuring angles in degrees. So we did really well yesterday. We just need to embed the knowledge. So first of all, we're just going to recap with a few simple questions to remind ourselves of the different types of angles. So first of all, use the symbols to complete the equation. So you've got 180 degrees and you've got 3/4 of a turn. Try and remember what 3/4 of a turn are equal to before you attempt to place your symbol. Pause the video and have a go. Let's have a look at the answer then. So 180 degrees is equal to a half turn. A 3/4 turn is 270 degrees. Okay, so if we look at them in degrees now, we can see clearly that 270 degrees are larger than 180 degrees, therefore it should be this symbol here. Well done if you got that one correct. Have another go at this one. So again, use the symbols to complete the equation. So remember, when you've got eighths, think of quarters first and then convert them into eighths. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, let's have a look at the answers then. So, 3/8 are equal to 135 degrees. Okay, so if we put that again in degrees, so we've got 135 degrees. So because it is worth 135 degrees, that must mean that these two are equal. Okay, so 135 degrees is equal to or the same as 135 degrees. Well done if you got that one correct. So let's have a look at this one now. So this one's a more worded problem. This is one of your reasoning questions because it asks you to explain. Okay, so these mice are facing southwest. They need to turn to face east to find the cheese. So Mitch says we need to turn through an obtuse angle anti-clockwise. And Yasmin says we need to make a half turn. Who do you agree with? Explain. Okay, so we need to make a half turn is what Yasmin says. And an obtuse angle anti-clockwise is what Mitch says. And we are facing southwest to start with, and we need to turn to face east. So we are here and we want to end up here. Okay? Who do you agree with? Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so let's have a look at the answer. So I agree with Mitch because if we turn anti-clockwise, so remember anti-clockwise is coming back on yourself, the opposite way that a clock would work, from southwest, so we're starting at southwest, we need to turn 135 degrees, okay? And this is larger than 90 degrees, which means that it is an obtuse angle. Well done if you got that correct. That was a tricky one because we had to go anti-clockwise. You had to really read the question. Okay, so looking at the clock face then. Starting at 9:10, the minute hand makes more than 5 but fewer than 8 quarter turns clockwise. What times could the clock show after the turns? Okay, so we're doing more than 5 but less than 8. Okay, so we could have 6 or 7 turns, couldn't we? Okay, because we want more than 5 but less than 8, which means that 5 and 8 are not options. We're making quarter turns and we're going clockwise. Okay, so we're going the way that the clock would go. So we want to know what times, not what number the hand would land on, but what times the clock could show after the turns. Okay, so remember a quarter turn is 1, 2, 3 numbers. So if you do it that way, and then have a go. So pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so let's have a look at the answers then. So there's 3 numbers per quarter turn. So for example, 1, 2, 3 is a quarter turn. So if we count on 3 numbers from 2, 1, 2, 3, we stop at 5. So that's 1. Again, 3 numbers on, 1, 2, 3, that's 2. 3 numbers on again, 1, 2, 3, that's 3. So now we are at 9:55, okay? Because remember we started at 9:10, so then we'd get to 9:25, then we would get to 9:40, then we would get to 9:55. So then after that we've got to be careful because we're going to pass through the next hour. So we've got 1, 2, 3, so we're at 2, but now we are on 10, aren't we? So we've passed through 10 o'clock. So now we're on 10 past 10, okay, for our fourth time. So then we've got 1, 2, 3. So our fifth time, we are at 25 past 10. So now our sixth and seventh ones are the ones that we need to take note of. So if we do 3 again, 1, 2, 3, we are then at 10:40. And then again, 1, 2, 3, we are at 10:55. So your two answers should be 10:40 and 10:55. Well done if you got those correct. Let's move on. So this is a different style of question now. So we want to know which angle is the odd one out. So we've got 180 degrees, 45 degrees, 79 degrees, and 270 degrees. Okay, so which angle is the odd one out? Now, I think it wants you to put a reason really. So if you put whichever angle you think is the odd one out and explain why. But just be careful with your explanation. There are many possible explanations, but just make sure that it is plausible. Then it says, could another angle be the odd one out for a different reason? So then you've got to find a different angle that's odd and explain why. So pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so there's 2 different possible answers because there's 2 different odd ones out. So you could have had that 79 degrees is the odd one out because all of the other ones are multiples of 45. So 45, 180 and 270 are all multiples of 45. You should know this because when we are doing our angles, 180 is a half turn, 270 is a 3/4 turn, and 45 degrees is an eighth of a quarter turn, isn't it? Okay, so that's how you should know that all of these numbers are part of the 45 times table, multiples of 45. And then your other one could be that 270 degrees was the odd one out because it is the only reflex angle there. Okay, so you've got 2 acute angles, a half turn of a straight line, and then a reflex angle. Well done if you got those 2 correct. Well done if you only got one of them as well, because that was rather tricky. True or false? A 3/4 turn is greater than 5/8 of a turn. Prove it. So remember, 1/8 is 45 degrees, okay, because it's half of quarter turn. And 1/4 is 90 degrees, isn't it? Okay, the first thing that I would do is I would either convert to quarters or to eighths. So you've got the same unit of measure first of all. Okay? Then you can decide which is greater and answer your question, making sure that you write true or false, and then use your working out to prove it. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, then let's have a look at the answer. So, I am going to do it visually, pictorially, and also as a calculation. So, first of all, we've got 3/4 of a turn, so I'm going to colour in 3 of my quarters. Okay? and then I've got 5/8 of a turn. So what I've done here is I've split my circle into quarters, but then I have split it again into eighths. Okay, so this time I'm going to colour in 5/8. So I've got 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, and 5/8. Now if you can see here, I need to have shaded in another one of my eighths to make my 3/4. Let me shade a different one in so it's a little bit more clear. I needed to shade in this eighth as well to make 3/4. So that proves that 3/4 is larger than 5/8. Okay, I've done it again here by working out that 3/4 is worth 270 degrees because 90 times 3 is 270. Okay, because I know that 1/4 is worth 90 degrees, so 3/4 is worth 270 degrees. So here, to work out 5/8, I know that 1/8 is worth 45 degrees. So I've then multiplied that 1/8 by 5 to get 225 degrees. So here I can clearly see that 3/4 is larger than 5/8, therefore my answer is true. And what you should do really underneath is write a sentence saying it is true that a 3/4 turn is greater than 5/8 of a turn. Well done if you got that one correct. Let's have a look at this one now. So this is your last one for this session. So follow the instructions to work out the code to unlock the jar. So imagine you are facing 0. So 0 is here, look. Make a 3/4 turn anti-clockwise. So remember, anti-clockwise is going this way. Then turn 3/8 clockwise. So that's going backwards the other way. Next, turn 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So anti-clockwise is this way. Finally, turn 5/8 clockwise. So that's this way. So you turn it anti-clockwise, then clockwise, then anti-clockwise, then clockwise. And you're doing first of all a 3/4 turn, then a 3/8 turn, then 90 degrees, then 5/8. So remember, 1/4 is 90 degrees. And 1/8 is 45 degrees. Okay, and that should help you. So all you need to remember there is if you've got 4/8, you multiply 45 by 4. If you've got 3/8, multiply it by 3. If you've got 5/8, multiply it by 5. 90 degrees for a quarter, if you've got 3/4, multiply it by 3. 2/4, multiply it by 2, and so on and so on. Okay, make sure you are starting at 0 and follow the instructions carefully. Pause the video now and have a go at this one. Okay, let's have a look at the answers then. So, you have got to turn from 0, you've got to make a 3/4 turn anti-clockwise. So 1/4 would be 6, 2/4 would be 4, 3/4 would be 2, the first number. Then from there, you've got to turn 3/8 clockwise. Okay, so 3/8 is 135 degrees. So you have got 90. 180 minus 45 is 135 degrees. That's 5 as your second number. Then you've got to turn 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So we're going to come back through to the 3. Then you've got to turn 5/8 clockwise, which would mean you would land on the 0. So your numbers should be 2, 5, 3, and 0. Well done if you got that one correct. That one was rather difficult. I'll speak to you soon.